You are tuned in to Wine and Wisdom, where mothers and wives dive deep, share stories, and uncork life's most meaningful conversations.
Darling, can you pass the wine, please?
Every Wednesday, we're bringing you real talk, real scenarios, and the real reality of womanhood.
I love you, girl. Enjoy the show.
What's up, and welcome back to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm your host, Jamie, and tonight we're talking about something I know many of us have felt, but maybe haven't named. Growing pains. Not the kind our kids get in their legs at night, though interestingly, a 2004 Australian study found that about 37% of children ages 4 to 6 experience those literal aches. But no, I'm talking about the kind of growing pains that don't show up on an x-ray. Emotional and relational growing pains. These show up in friendships, especially as we step deeper into womanhood, becoming wives, mothers, business owners, leaders, prayer warriors. Sometimes you look up and realize the people you've always done life with just aren't growing in the same direction anymore. And that's okay. When we grow emotionally or spiritually, our world shifts, and so do our relationships. Think about this. Research shows that about 70% of close friendships don't last past 7 years. That stat floored me when I read it in a piece by Hannah Connolly on Substack. But when I sat with it, it made sense because growth comes with change, and change often brings distance. Maybe you're growing into your purpose, becoming more intentional with your time, and a friend still wants to vibe like you're both 21 again. There's tension. You still love them, but you aren't aligned with that anymore, and that's okay. So let's talk about it. So how do you know it's growing pains and not just a rough patch? Well, some signs I've experienced and that are also backed by studies on social dynamics include a lack of shared values or principles, conversations that feel surface level or performative, feeling more drained when you're around them than filled after spending time together. As Leanne Alguacene wrote in her blog, this is not a mama blog. Friendships can start to feel off when your capacity changes, but your friends' expectations don't. You're evolving, but they're holding on to the past version of you, or you're expecting them to grow with you at the same rate as you. Yeah, baby girl, it's not going to happen. One thing I've learned the hard way is this. Every disconnect doesn't require a delete. Sometimes it just needs a pause or a real conversation or even a redefinition. And that requires maturity from both parties. The same article by Leanne speaks to how friendships have seasons. Every relationship has seasons. And when we confuse a seasonal friendship with a lifelong one, we grieve something that was never supposed to be permanent. In other words, we grieve something that was never there to begin with. If a friend is meant to be in your life, your growth won't scare them. If someone is meant to be in your life, your growth will not scare them. It won't push them away. It'll stretch them. Now, my husband always says, if you can't meet people where they are, leave it alone, Jamie. And he didn't mean it in a sense of if they don't like what you like, leave them alone. No, he meant in a sense of in stages of growth, you might be up here and they might be down here. And you have to be okay with that if you want them in their life. And that line stung a bit, but now I see it and view it and use it as a filter because not everyone is ready to grow with you. And you can't force readiness on anyone. But that doesn't mean you just up and throw them away. It just means you stop shrinking yourself to fit into the version of you that they have made up in their mind. We all grow differently. I might find peace in gardening, wine, prayer, reflection, while another sister of mine finds it in movement, creativity, and community. We're not wrong. We're just walking parallel paths and just not the same one. Or we have days where we meet in the middle, and that's okay. Now, I always like to anchor things in the Word. This week's verse that we're working with in our journals is James 1, verse 2 and 3. And it says, Consider it joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Listen, that includes relational trials too. That includes outgrowing people. That includes learning how to love people without leaning on them the same way you once did before. Let me be honest with y'all. My circle looks nothing like it did 5 years ago. I've had to lovingly release some friendships, and I've also had to take ownership of the ways I'd outgrown certain conversations and habits and environments. And you know what I realized? Not everyone who shares a meal with you is your friend. Some people are associates. Some people are acquaintances or companions for a season. Not everyone is our friend, and that's okay. I now have this tight little crew of mine. I call them Mafia. We protect each other. We pour into one another. And when we brunch and lunch, while our kids are with their daddy, we have us a grand time. We have us a grand time. And it is so healing and comical all at the same time. Now let's talk about one of the biggest growing pains. Becoming a mom. Girl, you want to know what'll test any relationship? A baby. A piece in the Daily Telegraph shared one mom's story about how motherhood completely altered her relationship with her best friend. The friend couldn't understand why she couldn't hang out the same way or answer the phone at midnight or go out all the time like she used to. Does it sound familiar? Okay. Well, motherhood changes the pace. It changes your sleep, your body, your hormones, your interests, your needs. It changes everything. And if your friends can't meet you there, it's not always malicious, but it can be painful. But here's the thing. You can grieve a friendship without bitterness. Not every goodbye has to be messy. Sometimes you just quietly stop watering a plant that no longer grows because it's no longer in season anymore. And the grief is valid. I'm always sad when I got to get rid of a plant. I take it as a loss because I loved you. But the environment I was producing for you just wasn't working. Y'all, I cannot keep a prayer plant alive to save my life. But anyway, the grief is valid. The loss is real, but so is the beauty of who you're becoming. Instead of fixating on what's falling away, focus on the roots that you're growing now. So tonight, I want you to take a moment, pour yourself a glass of wine, maybe a deep Merlot or a bold Syrah, and think about the friendships in your life that have changed. Who have you outgrown? Who have you been holding space for even though your growth is making them uncomfortable? Are you watering friendships out of loyalty or because it's still life-giving? There's no shame in outgrowing people. Just like grapes don't rot, they ferment, transform, and become wine. Maybe you're just in a new stage of flavor, and that's okay. Before we close tonight, I want to tell y'all about something really special we're launching, something that's been on our hearts for a while. It's called the Offline and Thriving Summer Challenge. It's our way of stepping away from the scroll and back into real life. For 30 days, starting June 1st, we're focusing on presence, being fully where we are with who we love, doing what actually matters. This challenge is all about women and moms who've been stretched thin, constantly consuming, constantly comparing, and feeling disconnected from her own joy. It's for the wife, the mama, the daughter, the business owner, the woman who's been saying, I miss me. Each day, this simple activity, just one thing, to help you reconnect with nature, with your family, with your community, and with yourself. And listen, this isn't about perfection. It's about pausing. It's about being where your feet are, and that's called being present. You can grab your Offline and Thriving activity sheet on our new blog, The Muscadine Vine. I'll link it in the show notes. Download it, print it out, tape it to your fridge, invite your friends, invite your children, and the group chat. Let's thrive offline on purpose this summer. Because the world can wait, but your peace, your presence, sis, that cannot, okay? So as we close, I want you to take a breath Seriously. Inhale. Exhale. There we go. Growing hurts, but it's holy. And you don't have to feel guilty for becoming someone your past could never imagine. Let that settle in your spirit. Whether you're walking away from a friendship, grieving a shift in a relationship or your marriage, or just feeling stretched by the weight of who you're becoming. Baby girl, God sees you. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not alone. And everything's going to be okay. You want me to send up a prayer for you? I got you, Bookie. You ready? God, thank you for growing us even when it hurts. Thank you for pruning what no longer bears fruit. Teach us to release with grace, to grow with intention, and to love without clinging. Remind us that every goodbye makes room for a new beginning, and that every growing pain is proof we're becoming. Amen. Sis, I'm proud of you. You're doing the work. I see you showing up, and I just want you to keep going. And remember, always remember, wine does not spoil. It ferments, it matures, it becomes more valuable with time. And so do you. I'll see you next week for our season finale. Y'all got a graduation coming up, don't you? Yeah. Until then, rest well, reflect deeply, and pour slow. And I meant that last part spiritually, not literally. Cheers.